Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this webinar presentation where we're going to be talking about moving from paper and spreadsheets to future-ready manufacturing. Now, just before we sort of go through this presentation, just a bit of admin to begin with. So we put this statement up just to let you know that if we make any forward-looking statements, there's obviously no guarantees and no sort of accountability and so on based on anything that's said here. So we have to put this up by based on our legal principles. But chances are in this presentation, this is things that are already already available now. But just to let you know that if we do make any forward-looking statements, this covers that. So yeah, so as I said, this presentation is all about moving from paper and spreadsheets to future-ready manufacturing, and we're going to basically talk about this with my two colleagues. So myself, I'm Rob Walker. I'm the manager for the technical marketing manufacturing team at Autodesk, and introducing my two colleagues over in Portugal.
Hi everyone, thanks Rob, and thanks everyone for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Gonçalo. I manage the Prodsmart product here at Autodesk, and I'm going to be giving you a quick overview of what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, and hopefully I'll be able to show something useful here today.
And I'm Pedro. I'm the implementation manager in Prodsmart software by Autodesk, and I'm really excited to share with you today a little bit of my vision and knowledge about manufacturing and Prodsmart, of course.
Thanks, guys. Okay, yeah, so just a brief agenda, just to give you an understanding of what we're going to go through. So we're going to talk about Prodsmart and give an overview. So Prodsmart is our latest addition to the Autodesk family of products and solutions. So we're going to go through with an overview with Gonçalo, first of all. And then Pedro will take us through a product demonstration, and then there will be an opportunity to ask some questions and us provide you some answers towards the end. There is also the Q&A area button within the webinar interface. If you have questions you want to ask along the way, feel free to drop them in there, and then we can either address them as we're going along, as written answers, or try and address them at the end of the presentation as well. So as I said, feel free to do that. And without further ado, I will hand over to Gonçalo to take us through the overview.
Thanks again, Rob. Very well. So I'd like to share with you a bit more about what Prodsmart is and our mission. And the big mission, our big goal is to empower manufacturers and fabricators to go paperless and to digitize and automate their manufacturing processes, your processes here in this audience. And we do this by providing a software solution that helps to schedule, track, and trace your production and quality processes in real time with data capturing on the shop floor. And I'll share a bit more about how we do it. The main outcomes, the key takeaways to get from this webinar, there are multiple benefits that Prodsmart provides. But I've decided to highlight a few here from a manufacturing process standpoint, a business process standpoint, and an IT standpoint, because this is where we'll be focusing on. And by the end of this webinar, the goal is to show you how you can use Prodsmart to increase your manufacturing flexibility, your planning skills and capabilities to plan ahead for your production run, during the execution of the production process or your job, to know what's happening, to minimize any kind of waste and byproducts, and all of this with the help of a quick and easy to deploy solution. It's browser-based. There is no IT complexity. No IT team is needed. And by the way, one very important thing also to mention about this webinar is that we're going to be sharing our sign-up link at the end, so that you can actually sign up for a trial. You'll get immediate access to the product, and you'll be able to experience it by yourselves with the help of our support team. It's a real-time system, therefore we also provide real-time support in the actual product. Moving forward and sharing a bit more about what Prodsmart is. We came to identify that most manufacturers and fabricators, they are still using paper, spreadsheet-based, and whiteboard-based systems to track their process. And this starts in the office too. We're going to go, we provide a shop floor centric solution, but we cover all the business processes in the office too. And this is where the paper emerges for the first time. And these systems, they have high processing costs. They usually don't give us the mission critical information that enables us to be on top of the process. And this leads to increased waste and scrap. Deadlines are missed because there's no visibility about scheduling attainment, and there's a low productivity overall. And with Prodsmart, we move companies from the reality here on the left with the paper traveler and the whiteboard to this reality on the right through the use of mobile apps, barcode readers, QR code readers to capture the data in real time and to enable both the managers and the workers and the operators on the floor with dashboards and reports and analytics tools that help everyone to be on top of what's happening and get operational visibility, leading to a decrease in raw materials waste and process waste, eliminating the non-value added time when the paper is being processed, obtaining visibility about the production process bottlenecks, thus increasing efficiency and revenue overall and keeping your customers happy. To share a bit more about how we do it and why Prodsmart is different, most manufacturing software offerings in the market, they are very complex, they are very expensive, they take months, sometimes years to be deployed, they require IT teams and complex integrations, and that's all the principles behind Prodsmart. They enable you to get an experience where we provide value to you now. This is our singular purpose. And again, I invite you all to sign up on our website by the end of the trial, and you can experience how quickly we are able to add value. And this is because we have a very modular solution, very flexible to break down the complexity. Everything is plug and play and promotes quick and easy setup and collaboration. The data, when we are talking about the shop floor data capturing, is done through the use of readily available hardware. There is no specific hardware needed. And very important, we support all kinds of production systems. We have a highly configurable workflow engine that supports both high mix, low volume, custom job shops or mass production assembly lines so that you can create your checklists, design your process, custom attributes for the product where there's a high customization, you name it. And even though Prodsmart is a shop floor centric solution, we don't stop there. We go beyond the shop floor and we support all the other needs of the business process from order to shipping. This covers sales, purchasing, and inventory management. This is all very important from a pre-production planning and scheduling point of view. In order to understand how you can plan everything, we gave you an MRP capabilities in the material requirements planner, scheduling capabilities. I've mentioned the production and job tracking before, giving you everything, all the visibility you need to have throughout the process, embedded into it in case it's needed. You can track the quality of your product to a number of defects if we are within the parameters, if there's scrap, if there's rework needed, and horizontally to all of this, and very important to keep your equipment up and running, we also provide you with a maintenance management module. Having said this, I hope that this brief overview gave you an idea of how Prodsmart can work for you. And I'm going to pass the baton to Pedro now, who's going to be doing showing you a product demo. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Gonzalo. So let me start by sharing with you the most common way of managing information on any production floor. The classic paper traveler that probably many of you can recognize from your company. This is the most typical way of deploying and managing production information, where the usual approach is, after receiving a client order, you have someone opening up an Excel template, inputting the data that you can see right here on top, the job code, what are the products that you're supposed to be producing, how many, and what are they do. Then you have to print this document out, give it, well, to the production supervisor or who else is responsible to start production, and then you expect this paper to follow the production workflow that each of the required manufacturing materials need, and for the production team to fill all this information that you can see here regarding each of these operations. Now, this is the typical way. This traveler returns to the back office. Each of the workers registers the information regarding the operations that they performed, and they end back this document back to the back office in order to be archived and well, probably transferred to another spreadsheet. We see three main issues with this process. First of all, it's a lot of work and a lot of paperwork around. You have to print it out, you have to hand it over to the production team, and then you have to archive it or retype it in an Excel spreadsheet. Second issue, with 5, 10, 20, dozens of workers registering information in I don't know how many paper forms, as a production manager, you have to walk around the factory for 15 minutes before finding out what is the status of that particular order you need more information on. Last issue, coming to the end of the month, to the end of the week, and if you want to, again, as a production manager, to get some insights about your overall performance, you either have two options. You either retype all this data the production team logs in all these paper forms, and you treat the data through an Excel spreadsheet, or you have to go through the paperwork yourself. And being completely honest, none of those scenarios is ideal. So now let me show you how you can digitize this traveler using Prodsmart. What you see here on the left-hand side is Prodsmart, and what you see is the exact same information as you can find on the paper traveler. In Prodsmart, you can easily define your job code, when you're planning to start production, when is production due, what are the products you're supposed to be producing, how many you're supposed to produce. You can customize whatever workflow you have in your production, in your factory, and you can assign specific workers and specific machines to specific tasks, whatever the case may be. Again, this can be whatever workflow you have in your factory. So with this, you can assign specific workers and all of this information. What I want to say is, with less effort than opening up an Excel template and printing out a form, with clicking this Save Production, instead of having dozens of papers flying around the floor, you have all this information about all the production orders you have ongoing, updated in real time in one centralized place, which is Prodsmart. And here you can have real-time insights about production status, overall efficiency for each of the production orders, what is ongoing, what is completed, what is delayed, so on and so forth. For the production team, that is even simpler. So once you click on Save Production, that production order is available for any worker to open our mobile device, which is meant to replace the paper that you just saw. And any worker can log his worker ID. He can scroll through the open orders that are pending production. In Prodsmart, you can find the production order that he wants to log information on, specify which product you'll be working on, and what is the operation that is just starting. All of this, with a couple of clicks, you can replace that field that I just showed you before, which is the start of production. So right now, in real time, you have information that, in this case, Mark Weber just started production on this product, on that specific operation, and on this production order. So let's fast forward this 30 minutes, and let's say Mark wants to register the end of production. He just finished 2 parts, and he wants to register those 2 parts in Prodsmart. exactly a very similar process. With a couple of clicks, Mark just has to log in with his worker ID, and Prodsmart is going to ask him, okay, how many parts did you finish? So you just have to input 2, click OK, and click Submit. What I'm saying here is, following the exact same structure as the paper flow, as the paper process, you can have all this information in real time for you to be able to make the best possible decision regarding production management. And what I just did here is filling that first section that I'm going to show you on the paper traveler. On the cutting operation, I just registered when did Mark start, when did Mark finish, how many units did Mark finish, so on and so forth. Again, with the great advantage of not having to go through the paperwork and having this information in real time. Another advantage of this is, as a production manager, you can have full visibility on what is your production team doing at any given moment. So you can easily identify the workers that are available to start production, which workers are working on which production orders, so on and so forth. And all of this just by digitizing and replacing that paper, the classic pen and paper approach with a mobile interface with a simple interface like I showed you. Now, let me show you how you can leverage a lot of different information you can define in Prodsmart. For example, with the possibility of defining estimated time of production for every product and operation, you can visualize your production plan based on the jobs that you have scheduled, get a quick snapshot of what is finished, what is ongoing, what is delayed, what you're working on at any given moment in a very visual way. Besides this, you can get insights and real-time information about, based on the jobs that you have scheduled, compare your load versus your capacity, so you can easily identify gaps in your production plan. You can easily adjust your schedule to maximize productivity and maximize throughput throughout your factory. Besides this, with the possibility of defining bill of materials, again, based on the production orders that you create and that you deploy, you can easily identify what are the components that you'll need, how many you need, and how much you have in stock. So you can easily identify gaps and anticipate stock outages. You can identify as well to which production orders you'll need these specific components. So you can leverage all of this information and make the best possible decision in order to purchase more raw materials and avoid having your team stopping because they don't have enough materials to start or finish production. And with the production team logging this information and you having access to this information in real time, you can have real-time information about what is your what are your machines working on at any given moment, what are running, which ones are running, which ones are stopped. For the ones that are running, what is the production order, the operations they'll be performing, when did they start, when they are expected to finish. For the ones that are stopped, you can easily identify the root cause for the stoppage, and you can be very fast to deploy maintenance orders, so you can minimize non-productive times. And in these these maintenance orders, you can easily identify what are the tests that the maintenance team needs to do to get the machines up and running, what are the spare parts they'll need to replace to finish these maintenance orders. Again, leveraging in all of this real-time information, you can make the best decision possible in order to maximize your efficiency. In order to close the loop, besides all of this information that you see right here about your production orders, updated and real-time progress, overall efficiency, what operations are being performed, you can easily generate reports, so you can easily see all the interactions and all the data that your team registered throughout production. So it's very easy to identify gaps in your production, what you estimated any specific production would take you to produce, what was really used regarding time, and you can easily identify those gaps. Exactly the same logic when you come to the end of the month and you want to have an overall view of what happened this last month. You can filter by production order, by worker, by specific products. And again, with a click of a button, you can generate all this data that you can easily analyze, and you can easily identify gaps, identify where you're losing efficiency. And again, all of this that I showed you just by replacing the classic pen and paper approach with using a mobile device and logging that information in Prodsmart. With this, I pass it over to Rob.
Thank you very much, Pedro, and Gonzalo as well for your excellent presentations. Very enjoyable. So we're going to move into a bit of a Q&A session and just answer any of the questions. As I said, feel free to put questions if you want some answers there. But before we move into the question section, the one thing I did want to point out, because it might be a question that a few of you actually have right now, and that is, how can I test this, or how can I give Prodsmart a go? Well, if you want to test it, and Gonzalo alluded to this just before, but if you want to test Prodsmart on your next production run, then you can do. We give you the option to sign up to a free 14-day trial. Follow that link there. Obviously, you can't click it on the screen; it's a webinar, but the link is app.prodsmart.com/sign-up. And by going to that link and just filling in the details, you can actually try Prodsmart out and give that a go on your next production run. So, something that we recommend, something we would encourage. Try it for yourself and see if you can basically move from that traditional process of using paper and spreadsheets to digitize your manufacturing workflow. Okay, so just going to have a quick look at the questions. There are questions coming in. So the first question I'll answer that live. So the question is asking, we're currently doing a Fusion Manage project that entails a lot of what I'm seeing in this demo. Would Prodsmart connect to PLM and share this data? Obviously, based on the safe harbor statement, we can't indicate anything that is happening on a future sort of product side of things, or give any dates or anything like that. But certainly, we are working towards the integration of Prodsmart with the products that we have within the portfolio. So this is something that we are actively looking at, and as I said, difficult for me to give you any fixed answers to that. And but yeah, it's definitely something that we are currently looking at. So okay, so next question. On average, how fast can this be deployed for a 12-people production team? So, Gonzalo, Pedro, who wants to field that one?
Pedro, you're the implementation manager. You want to take this one?
For that size, well, for a 12-people production team, we are very fast. So we are very fast to start deliver value. So on the second day, we can start tracking the first production. And usually for this size, we have the implementation completed around 2 weeks, from 2 to 3 weeks. And why is this? Because we don't reinvent the wheel about your process. We digitize your process and we keep it exactly the same as you have it today. With the only difference being, instead, again, as I said before, instead of using pen and paper, you just use a mobile device, nothing else. Hopefully this answers your question.
Okay, thanks, Pedro. Okay, so we've got 2 additional questions that are asking the same question about connecting with Fusion Manage and the Fusion ecosystem. As I said, something we're actively looking at, and obviously it's a case of watch this space as we progress forward. So it's obviously early days with bringing the Prodsmart team to Autodesk, but certainly something that we're actively looking at. Okay, so I'll just mark those 2 as done for now. Okay, next question. Hi there. Hi there. Is it possible to have custom forms, inspection quotes, sales orders, production orders that can include the company logo, company name, and custom details such as company information, etc.?
I can take this one. So as I mentioned before, and even tying into the implementation time that Pedro just described, we provide a configurator where the workflow is designed exactly to accommodate each company's processes, step-by-step approach. And then in each step of the process, you can customize the forms that are used. For example, in this case, we have both inspection forms, which are, for example, probably quality forms that are going to be filled in the shop floor throughout the production process. Quotes, sales orders, and production orders are defined in the office prior to the production process to begin. We also have some level of customization, but now, of course, it all depends on exactly what are each company's needs, but it's highly configurable, and I would say that we cover the most common needs.
Okay, thanks, Gonzalo. Question at the very top. So what is the cost of the product? It's a difficult one to answer, obviously, because it's a global company and obviously various global markets with different currencies and so on. So we certainly actively encourage you to fill out the trial details, and then somebody local to you or more local to you will be able to contact you and talk directly about the pricing for you. So as I said, it's difficult for us to answer this because it's a global call, but certainly we actively encourage you to do that and speak to somebody more local to you. Next one, availability in South Africa. So basically asking, is this product available? It's not available in South Africa. When can we expect it to roll out here, and when will an agent be made available in South Africa? Obviously, we're a global organization, and we do have representatives around the world. We are steadily rolling out, Prodsmart as part of our wider ecosystem. But I don't know if there's anybody actively selling it there. Maybe Pedro could add a little bit more to that, but I'm not sure it is the case just yet. So,
Gonzalo, probably you are the best one to answer this question.
I think that what we can do is to check out and if it's possible, we have your contact details, Lorenzo, and ask someone from the sales team or an agent to reach out.
Okay, another one. I've seen your website on your website that you integrate with QuickBooks. How does that work? What's the one sentence answer to that? So.
Actually, it's two sentences because there is QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. It's a seamless integration in both cases with a difference. If it's QuickBooks Online, you can actually sign up into Prodsmart using your QuickBooks credentials. We are QuickBooks as partners. You can even check in their app marketplace. You'll find us there, and it's a direct sign up. And the connectivity to QuickBooks Online is almost completed after the sign up. However, because the integration flow might be different, you can then, with the help of our team, map out exactly what happens. If you issue a sales order, you might want a sales order to be created on Prodsmart or a production order because you want to create a clear separation. So there's a direct mapping between the entities in both systems. Finally, if it's QuickBooks Desktop, you'll need to install a software agent running on the same computer where your QuickBooks Desktop server is running, but then the principle is the same.
Thank you, Gonzalo. And related to that, there's two very similar questions, basically asking about connecting to resource planning, so ERP, MRP, and customer relationship management systems as well. So basically asking, is it possible, and the mechanisms for doing that, which I guess is quite similar. But
so let's maybe break this question down into two or three. An MRP, depending on the company's needs, but we do provide an MRP which is very robust, and this usually covers all the company's needs. CRM system, it depends on how the CRM system is used, because Prodsmart does provide a sales and purchasing module with the capacity to also manage suppliers and customers. So if we're talking about CRM capabilities, mostly from a standpoint of managing contact details and the sales orders, this should be enough. If it's a proper CRM driving a full sales process and contact details and moments to call and so on and so forth, or an ERP system, we have an API that can be used also to achieve that connectivity. Then it depends on the system that we find on the other side. We do have some seamless integrations, but an integration is always a two-way street, and it depends on the software that we are talking about.
Okay. And just on the chat, there's a couple of, again, questions that are quite similar, but the obviously we can't, we don't want to talk about, competitor products on this webinar, but in terms of, the sort of distinctive, unique sort of selling points of what Prodsmart's all about, the biggest one that Gonzalo alluded to is things like the flexibility, browser usage. You don't have big IT overheads, all those key things that that Gonzalo called out at the start of the presentation are all the sort of major differentiators from a lot of the similar or solutions that try and provide a similar sort of level of capability. So, as I said, it's that flexible nature of what Prodsmart is all about is a bit of a difference to what's out there. Okay, so the last couple of questions, I think, before we wrap up. Just close that one off. So this one I don't know about. So I work in discrete event simulation. In what formats can Prodsmart download data so that it can be imported into my simulation model? Anybody any clue on that answer?
So everything that you saw on the screens that Pedro was sharing can be exported, and can also be imported through the use of spreadsheets. I guess that this is kind of the universal model in a way, because then if there's a need to convert that into a different format, you can convert the spreadsheet or CSV format into a different one.
Okay. Next one, cybersecurity rating for the product. We do work for defense and aerospace in the United States. Our customers are very concerned about cybersecurity.
So we adhere to Autodesk security standards, and also we run on AWS and adhere to Amazon security standards too. However, there's one thing, maybe reading into this, we are not ITAR compliant, so this might be a situation where there might not be a good fit.
Okay, thank you. We're interested in traceability. Can you give a short view on that, or will there be another webinar on the subject? So the next webinar we're promoting will be on bottlenecks and how to deal with bottlenecks within Prodsmart. Will there be a webinar? Who knows? Maybe we jot it down as a topic for another one for another day. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that on the traceability or.
Yeah. I'd like to, yes, maybe invite to reach out to us and give us your contact details, because we do have a very easy to use traceability navigator based on the bill of materials, where you can tie in all the lot numbers, and everything can be assembled in a way that it runs on custom labels that you generate upon reception of the raw materials, and then you just track the whole raw material flow throughout the process until the finished batch number of the finished good. So traceability is a complex system that requires every single part of the company to be working in tandem, and Prodsmart acts as the backbone of the traceability system. And I'm sure that if we have the opportunity to show a product demo, or of course a webinar, thanks for the tip, by the way, it's a great moment to show off our traceability capabilities.
Fantastic, thanks, Gonzalo. And the last question, and this is, so we've answered everything, which is great. So the last question is just regarding the recording. So So there was a lot of it's Eric by the looks of things. He just put it in the chat. So Eric, yeah. So he had a number of interruptions during the meeting, missed something. So he's concerned he may have missed something and maybe wanted to review the recording. As if by magic, this is the last question. But yeah, we will be sharing out the recording, so you'll be able to watch at your leisure or share with your friends and family if you wish to do so. And of course, yeah, don't forget to try it out. We've got the link on there. Please feel free to try Prodsmart out and see if it fits with your working mechanisms. So I think that is everything. I guess we'll click on to the last slide just to wrap up and just thank everybody for attending, and thank you to Gonzalo and to Pedro for your eloquent presentations and excellent demonstrations. So really appreciate your effort on this, guys, and thank you everybody for attending. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, guys.